So today was race 2 of the 2021 Detroit Grand Prix doubleheader, the Duel at Detroit. And there was a much less controversial than yesterday. Though there was still some controversy. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way right now. NBC basically, they messed it up again with missing the start of, I guess not missing the start of the race, but missing the start of the TV window because I think it was the French Open for tennis went much longer than expected in terms of TV time. And the race was supposed to start pre-race at noon. And that wasn't done anywhere close to that time. And they had to, first they just cut out pre-race coverage, and then they said they'd start the race coverage at 12:30 on CNBC, and they went the first 40 laps of the race before this tennis match ended. Just figure out your TV timing, NBC. It's really just stupid that you can't figure out a way to get IndyCar races on NBC where they're supposed to be. So actually, before I get into this video, there's something else I want to talk about. So obviously, Felix Rosenqvist had the terrible crash yesterday where he got his throttle stuck open and ended up going into the tire barrier. He was fine. I think they said he had some type of fracture or something that he should be able to recover from, and there was no life-threatening injuries. I guess I don't know much medical stuff about it, but nothing was life-threatening. He wasn't going to die or anything, which is obviously good. Yeah. So, obviously he wasn't going to be able to race today. So Oliver Askew, the guy who drove the 7 car last year, ended up coming in and filling in for Felix this year, which was, that was interesting because I guess Askew got booted last year for Rosenqvist, and he ended up back at McLaren the next year, so that was kind of weird. But yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and get on with the rest of the video. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into what actually happened in the race. Starting off on lap 1, you had quite a crazy start where Scott Dixon almost got punted by Rossi, and then Rossi basically ended up tapping him back into being steady again. And then they went down the mid stretch, I guess I'll call it, between turns 2 and 3, and lots of people trying to go everywhere. I think there was guys getting up to 4 wide. And then coming into the corner, Sebastian Bourdais got cut off, and he had to cut the corner basically and bounce over the curbs. When he came back on, he was way slower than everyone else, and James Hinchcliffe was right behind him, and he had to check up. And Max Chilton was behind James Hinchcliffe. Hinchcliffe was able to check up in time, but Chilton was not able to check up in enough time to avoid Hinchcliffe. He got his front wing knocked off and knocked onto the car, and he ended up going into the wall at turn 4 and having to get the car refired. And I think he might have gotten a little bit of damage to the left front steering arm. I don't know. That was just a visual observation. I don't know if any of that actually happened. He only went 1 lap down, to my knowledge, but yeah. Anyways, on the restart, you had Joseph Newgarden, who started from pole, was still able to maintain his lead for quite a while, and I'm pretty sure he went all the way up to lap 65 or something with the lead. It was quite the dominant day for Joseph Newgarden, though he didn't end up winning, and we'll talk about who did later on. Moving on through the race, you had Rinus VeeKay almost crashing about 4 times. I've got 2 replays up here because, NBC and IndyCar just didn't post all of them on Twitter. That's where I get the videos I use on this from. Occasionally some YouTube videos as well. But there were just a lot of incidents where VeeKay almost punted someone, or VeeKay got really loose off of a corner and had to save it, or he almost hit a wall, or he went off track, or something. There's a lot of crap like that. There was also an incident on lap 20 where Dalton Kellett had not gotten a wheel nut on and got stuck at the exit of pit road, and basically just had to sit there, I think, for the rest of the race or until they could get the car back to their pit box or whatever. I don't know. They didn't really cover it that much. Though he didn't go back out on track, which was good. Basically, everyone came into the pits thinking, oh, there's going to be a yellow. And no yellow ever happened, which I think is fine. He was out of the way. Like, might as well just not have any yellows if you don't need one. Getting on to later in the race, there was a yellow for Jimmy Johnson spinning in turn 1. And, I mean, it's Jimmy Johnson. He's clearly not up to, like he's not Joseph Newgarden or Scott Dixon or anything. He's not great at IndyCar by any means. And if he doesn't spin in a weekend, it's, like, surprising. He ended up spinning the race, bringing out a yellow. I think that was with, like, 20 or 25 to go. And then later on in the race with, like, 12 to go, Romain Grosjean, coming out of turn 2, they didn't exactly have a replay of what happened that I saw, but he had to stop because he had a brake fire. Originally, it was just in the left front, but it ended up being in both front brakes after sitting for a minute. And the safety team didn't get to Romain in enough time for them to get fire extinguishers on it. So Romain had enough time to get out of the car, run over to a marshal post, get a fire extinguisher, run back to the car, and start extinguishing the fire before the safety team got to his car. And then it was like right as he started like putting fire extinguisher on the car, and like right as he started doing that, the safety team guys are like pushing him away, like no, get away. It's like, I get it, you're trying to do your job, but you weren't there in enough time to do your job. Like, if you're gonna do your job, like, just try to make sure you can be there in enough time. Yeah. Anyways, there was no red flag for that. Second, Romain Grosjean crash incident within the last 10 or 12 laps in 2 straight days, and this time they didn't bring out a red flag, which was good. They were able to restart the race with like 6 or 7 to go. So you had Newgarden, Herta, O'Ward. Herta had actually been closing up to Newgarden for basically the entire race after being like 10 or 12 seconds back of him. By that point, he was like right on his bumper. But on the restart, Pato O'Ward from third just went on a tear. He got Herta, I think, on the back stretch on the first lap and got up to second. And then after 2 or 3 laps, O'Ward ended up getting past Newgarden with 3 to go. So O'Ward was able to hold that for the rest of the race, and it looked to me from the replay like he actually hit Newgarden, because he had like tire marks on the side of the side pods or whatever, and the side pod was like loose, it looked like, when they had showed another view of the car. So some level of damage. I guess there wasn't any like avoidable contact penalty or anything. It looked like just racing, and like one of them moved over, or both of them moved over at the wrong time, and they ended up hitting. It wasn't really that bad, but Newgarden looked like he had enough damage that he fell back. He was able to maintain P2, but he lost 4 or 5 seconds to O'Ward and almost got passed by Sato and Herta and those guys. And also Palou, I think, who was also up there in the fight, which was interesting. I think Palou wasn't exactly really in the hunt for anything for most of the race, and then all of a sudden, at the end, he's up there like second or third. I think he got 4th. I'll have to check that. Whenever I pull up the results, I'll confirm or deny that. Yeah, anyways, so Pato O'Ward did end up winning. So that was cool. Nice to have it's just nice to have a race where you don't have some type of controversy over whether or not the winner should have actually won the race. Like, I mean, O'Ward won it clean, and wasn't really any issues. So that was great. Yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and get into the results here. So coming out with the win was Pato O'Ward, like I said. He's the first guy to actually win 2 races this year, which is interesting. None of the Penske's have won yet. This is the 2nd race in a row that the Penske's have been leading with 10 or however many laps to go, and either got the win, like basically stolen from them, or got flat out passed for the lead, like what happened today. Second was Joseph Newgarden, so at least it wasn't a willpower situation where he fell down to 20th. Newgarden did end up getting second. Pato was third. I had said Pato was fourth, but he was actually third. Sorry about that. Good quiet day for Pato. Well, I guess not a good day, because Pato O'Ward took the points lead. Here, I'll talk about that a little later. But Pato fell to second in the points. So disappointing-ish day from him, but he was still third, so didn't lose too many points to O'Ward. Fourth, Colton Herta, who looked like he was going to either be the winner or second for about 95% of the race, of course, until those last 4 or 5 laps. Fifth, Graham Rahal. He started 9th, so not the insane, jump up of positions from the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan cars that we had seen yesterday. Sorry about that. But still, obviously, positions gained for Rahal. 5th place is fine. 6th, Will Power. Obviously, had a very disappointing day yesterday for how his race had been going. He finished 6th, so it's not exactly how you'd like to follow up that race, but it's at least you're not 15th or something like that. So 7th, Scott Dixon. This is not helping his championship chances. Obviously, he's falling further away from the likes of O'Ward and Pato. So if you're in this situation, obviously you're nowhere close to Dixon's out of championship contention, but if he keeps this up, it's not going to be looking great. 8th, Simon Pagenaud. Kind of a quiet day for him, but was able to finish 8th. 9th was Marcus Ericsson, obviously yesterday's winner. I forget exactly. He had started 22nd. That was why he was so far down. 10th, Santino Ferrucci, who had quite the day from noon-ish to 12, or at least his crew did, because I'll have a replay up of it here. He crashed in qualifying in the Fast 12, and they ended up having to repair that car, and they barely got it on the grid. They got it on the grid at 12:15 or something, because I think they had to replace the tub or something. So I don't even know if I think it was a backup car. 11th, Ryan Hunter-Reay, better finish than yesterday. Improved on his qualifying position. He started 17th. It's an okay day for Hunter-Reay. 12th, Sato. I had said Sato was up in the lead group, but I guess I meant Rahal. Sorry, my memory is really not that great, and I'm recording this a little after because I had to go do stuff. 13th, Rossi. Compared to how he'd been doing for the first part of yesterday's race, wasn't exactly great. He started 7th, so he lost a couple spots from his qualifying position. Just really not exactly a great day for Alex. At this point, he's out of championship contention, which really sucks because, I'd say I'm a Rossi fan, so it sucks to see Alex, falling out of championship contention. After the 500, he was actually behind Elio. After 5 races versus 1 race. That was interesting. But 14th, James Hinchcliffe. Really was a quiet day for Hinchcliffe other than the first lap stuff. 15th, Connor Daly. 16th, Bourdais. 17th, Ed Jones. 18th, VK. 19th, Jack Harvey. He had a puncture from, I think it was Grosjean, that he had gotten a puncture from coming out of the pits. 19th, 20th, McLaughlin. Wasn't really a great weekend for him. Obviously, he had crashed in practice. He didn't do great in the race today. He went a lap down. 21st, Jimmy Johnson. He's just getting experience at this point. He was only 1 lap off the pace, but he did cause 1 yellow. So, mixed bag for Jimmy. 22nd, Chilton obviously had that first lap incident. He was 2 laps down, though, so he did end up losing a further lap after that, though I think he'd had some damage. So, 23rd, Dalton Kellett. Obviously, he had the issue in the pit lane. He was 9 laps down. So, not as many laps down as I thought. They were able to get that car apparently back to the box and get a new wheel on it. 24th, Grosjean. Obviously, he had the mechanical incident. And then 25th, Oliver Askew. I think it was really just cool that Askew was actually able to beat out Jimmy Johnson in qualifying, with no practice. Like, he literally had a 10-minute session to go out and try to beat anyone. Like, he basically had the Nico Hulkenberg treatment from F1 last year, filling in for Lance Stroll, but basically no practice for him, and he was still able to finish, or still able to beat out Jimmy in qualifying, and it was a mechanical incident that actually took Askew out of the race. So really a bad race week for that 7 team, because obviously they had the Rosenquist crash, and then Askew had to retire and finish last.
So last thing we're going to do today is take a look at the points standings. So with the win, Pato O'Ward passes Alex Palou for the points lead by just 1 point. So still a very close championship race. And Dixon still in striking distance, 36 points back. That's about how far back he was of Palou after the 500. Those really are the 3 guys that you're going to see competing for the championship, but also still within somewhat of a reasonable distance. 4th, Joseph Newgarden, 51 points back. Rinus VK, 5th with 56 points back. Pagenaud, also 56 points back. Ericsson, 7th, 88 points back. 8th, Graham Rahal, 90 points back, and 9th, Colton Herta, 97 points back. Those are really the guys you can see in legitimate championship contention, really just O'Ward, Palou, and Dixon, but also from 4th to 9th, you could see a situation where maybe those guys go on a win streak and end up taking the championship. It's still early days of the season. It's 8 races of, like, I don't even know. So like 16 or 17 races. So we're only about halfway through at this point. Other guys, you've got Sato in 10th, Power in 11th, and McLaughlin leading the rookie of the year battle in 12th. So I guess that's all that I have for the NBC point standings, and I'm not going to bother to try to make some graphic with all the rest of the stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to my final thoughts on the race.
So yeah, that was the Detroit Grand Prix. More exciting than obviously I thought it was. I think this week is better than your normal Detroit Grand Prix. I think it was more exciting. Though then again, that's just going based off of memory, and the last race was 2 years ago, and I don't remember stuff from back then as well, especially talking about IndyCar. There's been more important stuff that feels like it was forever ago from back then. So yeah, that's all I have. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to have a Formula E diecast review out probably tomorrow. I've got some IndyCar diecast coming at some point. I don't know when they'll get here. I'll get that out first. So I say probably tomorrow for the Formula E stuff, because if I get those cars tomorrow, then I guess I'll go with that first. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Bye.